Howdy y'all, and welcome. This is Glenn with Southern Fried Cards. Today I want to talk to you about the R310 1934 Butterfinger cards. Now before we do this, I'd like to go back and review what was happening in 1933 going into 1934. That's 90 years, y'all. Now, 1933 was the worst year of the Great Depression. There's been a great dust bowl in the Great Plains states for several years now, making wheat extremely hard to come by. 1 out of every 3 working-age Americans were out of work, but some news on the bright side. The first drive-in movie theater was constructed in Camden, New Jersey. King Kong was all the rage. This movie brought in several new techniques: stop motion animation and miniaturization. This film is a classic and is still considered one of the best horror films of the day. Now there was some construction going on. The Golden Gate Bridge construction started in 1933. And probably one of the biggest changes was December 5th, 1933, Prohibition was repealed. Cheers, y'all. Now let's talk a little bit about the cost of living in 1934 when this set was produced. The average cost of a new house was $5,970. The average wages per year were around $1,600 a year if you were lucky enough to have a job. Now let's say you couldn't afford a house. Rent was around $20 a month. In order to put gas in your car, you would have to shell out a whopping 10 cents a gallon. And if you wanted to buy a loaf of bread to make a sandwich, a loaf of bread was running about 8 cents. These cards are found in one of 2 primary variations. The first variation is printed on a format that is a thin paper stock, not much higher in quality than a common newspaper stock. Now, all 65 players of this set are featured on this thin stock, and this is a more common stock to be found. The second variation, and a less common variation, is printed on a heavier cardstock. These are easy to identify from the bright red advertising at the top of the card. Believed to be used as advertising pieces to help sell Butterfinger candies. The ad on these offer a free baseball pitcher with the purchase of a 5-cent Butterfinger candy bar. Now, only 17 players have ever been seen to have this variation of this overprint. These 17 players are also identified on the R310 checklist on the Old Cardboard website. Now, this set does contain 22 Hall of Fame players. Think about that, 22 out of 65 are Hall of Fame players. Now this set does pale in comparison to other popular sets in the 1934 Gowdy Gum Company of Boston. These were a lot smaller in size, 2 3/8 by 2 7/8 inches. Full color and just beautiful cards. Now this set only had 19 Hall of Famers compared to the 22 in the Butterfinger set. But the Butterfinger cards are 7 3/4 by 9 3/4. So think about that. That's almost an 8 by 10 photo. Try carrying that around as a kid. Now let's look at some of my cards in my set. Now, I've got, I think about 16 of these, and I've only got 1 of the advertising pieces. So let's go through these. Some of these have got some damage on them, pardon me. Some of these got some damage on them. It's a light mold issue, mostly on the backboard, not really on the cards. I've got to get those cleaned up and into some new holders. Helpful here. Here's the advertising piece. Yeah. Freaking fly. I got a lot of these a long time ago. Actually, before eBay got real big. And it was in one of the big catalogs, the card catalogs. I believe it was a Beckett. But I found an advertisement for a guy in California. I can't remember his name, but reached out to him and he sent me a list of the cards that he had, and we started getting these cards through the mail. Every payday I'd just get a hold of him, tell him what card I wanted, and he would send it. I'd send him a certified check or a money order, and about 4 or 5 days later I'd get my card. I love the catcher cards. I really like this one. This one was a Haas, the Mule Haas. Oh, it's not bad. That's not a bad one there. That one's a newer one. I think that might actually be the Canadian issue. It's a lot smaller. I need to go back and do some research on that. I love the catcher cards. Appreciate it if you subscribe and like the post. And let me know what your thoughts are on these cards. They're not hard to come by. They're hard to find in good condition, but on eBay you can find them. Yeah, the more common players, anywhere from $16 to $30 or $40 in decent shape.